Ayo, welcome to Benchwarmers, a WOSO podcast, episode 39, part 2. I mean, we mentioned Patel last time. We've got Ainhoa Gomez, who ended up playing in that last Liga F game that we talked about in part 1, specifically that young Barcelona backline of dreams that is going to haunt us for the next 15 years. But if we're going to talk about haunting stuff, we're finished with WOSO around the grounds, basically, as we're going to be talking contracts, extensions, rumours, and retirements. I mean, Leggy, I don't know if you heard Lady Gaga's new remix. I don't know if you heard it, but she released a North London edition of Judas, obviously. I mean, it was very, very popular. I heard it online, just everyone talking about the new forthcoming of Judas and that Caitlin Ford is in love with Judas. Judas was chilling in North London, now I'm in the East. And I'm chilling out with Judas, baby. Obviously, I'm referring to the Irish Judas to many Arsenal fans. Do I think she's a Judas? No. Do I think Gaga makes bangers? Yes. But what I do know is that Katie McCabe has decided to go from North London forever to East London right now. I'll put it that way. Sonia Bompastor, Chelsea put in the bid. City very disappointed on my behalf that we didn't go after a player like McCabe more, because Katie McCabe is a very useful player, still in her prime, and the ability for her to impact games is still there. But I need to go to my resident Arsenal fan, the only Arsenal fan that matters, in my opinion, in WOSO. That is Allegra. How are you feeling about McCabe deciding that Chelsea is the place to be?
This is incredibly disappointing, and I think I speak for a majority of Arsenal fans in saying that it is disappointing. But I also think that we are a team and we are a club that expects more from our players. And I think of the words of Vic Akers, who I think is probably the managerial GOAT for Arsenal. I mean, early 2000s, he was the one that really set us up. And he talked about when Anita Asante and Leanne Sanderson left the club, a very similar move went from Arsenal after winning everything to Chelsea. He said, you think you've the respect of the players, and then they go and do this. It's a sorry state of affairs. And I think I have to agree with him and translate that statement and take it to this one. I'm disappointed in McCabe. I think I'm not disappointed in Arsenal, because I think a lot of fans will argue for Arsenal. This is different to Viv Miedema, and we have to start differentiating the two. Players who are leaving under Renee Sledges are not doing it in the same vein as they are leaving under Jonas. There was an obvious tactical, managerial, personal difference between the two, and one was not offered a contract. And look, Katie McCabe is a servant to Arsenal. She will always have the 11 years, her prime years, her best years, but also her most successful years at Arsenal. She will not get that at Chelsea. Her move to Chelsea is not only a move of I would say personally, lackluster on Chelsea's behalf, but more so, Katie McCabe is leaving a side and leaving an institution of class, of respect, of history, where she's going to a side that is probably going to give her a couple bucks and some quick fire hits, right? She's going to be able to get that sugar hit of success potentially. I don't even know if they're going to get any trophies next year. But
they do. They just do. Even when they're crap. Even when they were crap, they still win. This is the problem I have with Chelsea, is that even when they were bad, they still nicked a trophy. Even when they were bad, they were still in semi-finals and quarter-finals of respective competitions. And regardless of what it means to Arsenal, and I think I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans out there that are disappointed in Arsenal that they let them go to. I mean, the whole point, don't strengthen your rivals, and don't, like, and yes, I understand that Katie can go wherever she wants, and that's not Arsenal's choice, but that should be claused. That should be like, that's what a servant, when you're talking about Vic Akers, that's what you're talking about, is that the servants of said clubs need to find places where they're not doing, this is not a legacy that you leave. This is like, if Katie McCabe goes over there, hypothetical, please, thank God, like, please take this as a hypothetical. I don't want this to manifest into greatness. Maybe I shouldn't say it because I'm wording it out. But if she goes and then they win the WSL, or they, please, thank God, please never make a Champions League final again, like, and Katie McCabe is the epsilon of this, where they have a backline of Carpenter, McCabe, Bjorn, and Germer with Lucy Bronze, MBE as the like servant who can switch in and out of basically any position across the back four. Despite the fact that I think she's trash in centre half, I do think she's a rubbish centre half, and was the reason we won that game against Chelsea when they were 2-0 up. But McCabe will only make this team better. I understand that it is a very, like, I don't know, you could argue, like, there is risk in taking an Arsenal player, but there is no risk in taking a quality player like McCabe.
Yeah, and she is quality, and I don't deny that she is and remains one of the best, if not the best fullbacks in the world. I just think it's way too safe for Chelsea. They have no foundations to build on. They pickpocket other teams and they don't build. And this is the problem with Chelsea, and this is the reason why they haven't been successful in Europe, is that there is no Katie McCabe equivalent right now. And if there was, you'd bet that Chelsea is not going for them. And why? Because they secure their bag in players that they know are going to do whatever they want them to do. They can bring in some of the best players in the world, but they have to fit within this barren system and this barren club, because unfortunately Emma Hayes set this club up, and that was about 10 years ago, and since then it's been riding off the coattails of Emma Hayes football. Sonia Bonpastor has tried to imbue herself onto this club. It hasn't worked. I think that for Katie McCabe, she will look back on this, and I do think that it'll be a mark on her career. I don't think she's going to win anything. I think when she goes there, I think that the ideological differences in the club are going to shock her. I think that she's going to be shocked at how little they respect their players, they respect their veterans, and I think she's not going to win anything, and that to me is disappointing, because she should be at a club that wins things.
I mean, we will find out. I mean, I think you are right about the Emma Hayes thing, that I actually do feel bad for Sonia in that realm and aspect, where Sonia is an amazing manager who can impart wisdom, but the person who was going to go after Emma Hayes was always going to be set up to fail. That's what happens. The Fergies, the Pep. Like, Maresca is not at Man City Men's to be the best manager. He's there to be the fall guy before we bring in Vincent Kompany. He's not the manager that's going to win us anything, albeit maybe a cup, maybe one cup. But the reality of the situation is that Chelsea have not been the same since, and they need to get out of Emma Hayes' shadow, and the players who are of that Emma Hayes shadow need to leave, in my opinion, that if they're really going to get out of the shadow and be this new structure, this new comeuppance, this new dynasty. And Katie McCabe is of that ilk. I do understand that is like, I don't know, the way you're describing Chelsea women's is kind of like their Real Madrid men's. It's kind of Galacticos style. They don't sign youngsters, but the rumours are that they are going after some youngsters. So there is this dual identity of Chelsea, where the rumours are that they are going after Sophie Proust, the up-and-coming young baller, Dutch baller from Twente, who was very good next to Jill Roord this season, and ultimately looks the goods. There is a bit of a Jill Roord regen about her. I am a bit nervous about it because it is Chelsea. They do have Lexi Potter. They do have Captain. They do have players in their respective team that they trust more. Do I think that she's any better than Jean-Francois? I don't know. We'll find out. That's the thing. That's what kind of happens to these young ballers that they get linked to, is that you end up at Villa or Tottenham or anyone else in the league where you are not at Chelsea, sadly. And I think that's what Proust needs to be careful of, in comparison to the other Dutch youngster that they're linked to, Amy Altina, who is the youngest goal contributions successor in the Eredivisie. She had 15 goal contributions in the league this season, which is the most from a 17-year-old since the likes of Miedema, Martens, Van der Sanden, like the best of the best Dutch players, Beerenstein. I don't know why I just said that. I don't know why I put that oxymoron into the universe, but I mean, Leggy and I, we've been talking football together. I mean, on a podcast for nearly a year, not just yet, but we've been talking football together for over 3 years, and we always talk about, when are we ever going to see Alika Martens regen? I mean, obviously not a regen when it comes to her UWCL draws, and talking about how, I don't know, Barcelona may not be the same as when I was there, but also like her and Kursler were just having too much fun. But that's okay. It's not GK Barry doing the Conti Cup, you know what I mean? It's a bit different. But we have not seen an on-field Lika Martens regen, and I think this is the one who's been touted. I do see it as a bit of a brand change for Chelsea. We don't really see this much from them, where they go after these 17-year-old, 19-year-old ballers from other leagues that aren't the top five and decide that they're good enough to potentially play for Chelsea, especially with players that they have that are matured, established on the wing, who are probably looking outwards and not looking at Chelsea because of their lack of minutes.
I don't think, and I've told you this before, I don't think there will ever be another Lika Martins. I don't think there will ever be another Viv Miedema. I don't think that Netherlands team of basically 2017 to 2019 is incredibly ephemeral. That is a moment in women's football history, and it's fantastic and it's incredible. But this double signing, if they make it, is basically copium for not being able to get Lily Johannes. And I think if we look at how reactive Chelsea have been in the market, signing players that they think is going to fix holes in actually like quite larger foundation that is crumbling, it looks like getting Dutch young players is going to be great until they get sent on loan and don't get any minutes. And I think that Chelsea, and I can even look inward, and Arsenal have the same problem. We look at short fixes and we look to be known as the club to bring in this young talent, this fiery, exciting players, especially from a country like the Netherlands, who have produced such greatness in the past, and think that's going to solve our problems. And really, we realize quite quickly that those players are not accustomed, or are very close to, but not yet accustomed to WSL starting or coming on and being a big impact player. And look, this is incredible. I don't watch much of the Eredivisie, so I can't comment on how good they are, but if Chelsea do go after this, it's one step away from the sad, insecure club that Chelsea have been for the last 5 years in signing just sameness, and at least it's propelling them to some sort of interest in terms of young starters and young players.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're going to talk from young Dutch ballers to another Dutch baller, in your background specifically, Vicky Pelova has been deconstructed into Pavlova as, we have another Judas in the ranks. We have this is a bit of a different Judas in my opinion. I think going to Tottenham is not a really Judas in that same way, is it? I said this
to you. I said this is like if Jesus and Judas were friends in kindergarten and Judas portrayed Jesus in like the sandpit. Like, this is not the move that Pelova thinks this is. This is Judas, like Bit Park Judas. Going to Spurs is more of a saddening thing for me watching this player and seeing them regress. I don't care if she goes to Spurs, because Spurs are not a rival to me. They are so away from what I think a rival is. They are such a non-starter. But it's the fact that she's going to Spurs, a team that we've seen this season have struggled playing and betting in number 10s, have struggled with a midfield that is just non-operative. They don't play with a midfield. It's very transitional. And so putting Pelova here, she has struggled in the WSL, and I think that she will be, given form, be able to get back into that 2021, 22, 23, 24 move or form. But she needs, and I've said this before, an experienced midfielder with her. And I think, look, I don't think that she should have stayed, because I've said this before as well. The Jonas era signings have to move on. They are from an archetype and an archaic time in Arsenal's football. We need to move them on. And I'm talking about Caitlin Ford in that as well. And I think I would be talking with a lot of Arsenal fans in that. But the reason why these players were so good is because they had experienced players around them. Spurs is a young team. Pelova would be coming in as the most experienced, the only Champions League winner in that team. And I don't think she's a difference maker for Spurs. Yeah,
it'll be an interesting midfield with Hanson basically confirmed as well, and Shakira Martinez, who we spoke about both of them last week, both players. That triple threat as three signings to bring in is quite inspiring for Spurs. I think that would be not enough to get them close to United, but definitely shorten the gap, close in on that top four. But also just maybe, I don't know, the goal for Tottenham should be to basically try and get more points than they already got last year against the top four. And ultimately, they did quite well against your lot in that first exhibition where you guys were shit, and they were part of that. But I think that they have to be able to look at the situation of bringing in three very good WSL proven players and decide where their next steps are. And I hope Martin Ho can make Pelova what Arsenal fans kind of thought she was going to be before she came in.
I think that we were very much interested in creating a Dutch foundation or a Dutch identity with Arsenal. I think Jonas was very much a part of that. And unfortunately, the WSL, and I think football in and of itself, has moved away from that style of football, especially in a physical and transitional league like the WSL. I would just be interested with Spurs to see how they rebound from another fantastic season in their standards, because 23-24 was their best season and they followed that up with near relegation. So I am very interested to see how they will go next year, and I don't know if signings will be the answer.
But this was their best season, and they followed up this season with 3 great signings. I mean, wish we did the same thing. We've just won the league, and now we're linked to bloody Niamh Charles. Why is that the logical inference? Like, imagine saying, "Oh wow, you're title winners. Who's your first name on the shopping cart?" Like, it should be Felicia Schroeder, Katie McCabe. I don't know. Muppy wants to leave. No, we're going after Beth Mead. No, we're going after Niamh Charles. Sure, we're going after a backup left back who was linked to Real Madrid, whose most iconic moment in her entire career is getting cooked by Aitana in a final at the Bridge, right? Like, it's just not inspiring at all. I said it already. I think that if we're going to go for a second left back, go younger, go with the risk. We already did Iman Bene. Iman Bene was a risk. Look how it worked out. We paid peanuts for Iman Bene. We would pay peanuts for Lou Boggart. We would pay peanuts for Melgard or Bonsu. Or, by God, if you're gonna want to literally take out the cash register a little bit, Janu levels right there. Like, break the bank for Janu levels. Get the other Dutch fullback to play with the other Dutch fullback, and have the versatility to go both sides. Like, that's how it should be. I just think Niamh Charles is such an underwhelming signing, and it's such a copium for Alex Greenwood. It's, okay, you're the first and we need a second. Get a left back who can rival Alex Greenwood to make her a better left back and want to play better, not give her no jeopardy on the left, or better yet, give ourselves a signing that means that Kanak and Rose also have more work to do, because AG can move back to the centre, and then we have a left back that's capable of running and doing the dirty work, because who knows, AG can get injured, and then who do we have at left back? We're going to play Niamh Charles all year, and we're going to go up against, in the Champions League, we're going to go up against Lyon and Barcelona with Niamh Charles and Kasparai. I mean, Kasparai is a great right back, but defensively is quite susceptible when we come up against quality sides, and I think her attacking ability is nearly second to none on that right side, but you need to be able to cover with that left side. And Niamh Charles, I've never seen her really deliver to a level that I think is conducive to the level that Chelsea fans thought she was, or Sonia or Emma Hayes thought she was. I just don't see it, and I don't think it's the right decision, and I think we're going to have to pay massive overs for an England international, a Chelsea player, where, you don't sign from your rivals if your rivals are willing to let them go. There is something different with McCabe, where she wanted to leave, and there is this offering from Chelsea that is lucrative. This is Chelsea going, take her and we'll still beat you. Take her and we're going to get McCabe instead, and we're gonna be better without her. Like, it is just admitting defeat in that aspect.
I guess if I'm to take the devil's advocate role, I think City have been really interesting and hot and cold on their intra-club signings from other WSL clubs. The players who you didn't expect to do wonders from moving from other clubs have actually done incredible things. Probably bar Viv. Everyone knew Viv was going to be exceptional anywhere she goes. But Niamh Charles, I believe, is probably a consequence of the black hole that swallows your identity at Chelsea. She hasn't really set herself up to be proven as a distinctive fullback. I think that she's kind of put in the same mold as the typical English fullback, despite me thinking she's not. She's actually very poor defensively, but her work in midfield and working down the flank, and especially overlapping, is quite good especially for England, but also for her best moments in Chelsea, sorry. And look, City love a flank player. They do. City love flanks. And I think that the only thing you can do, like you've done with Grace Clinton, like Sydney Lohman, is better in at the start of the season, midway through the season, at the end of the season, and you're going to see 3 different versions of Niamh Charles. And in my opinion, she's probably kind of the best archetype for growth. She's a bit of like a Frankenstein's monster. What can you do with this player and improve her and kind of make her the archetype? Yeglitz, how can he make the archetype of?
But once you've won the league, we're not playing. In my opinion, you're not playing career mode anymore. You're trying to strengthen positions of strength personally,
and so that is
sure. We are playing 4 competitions. That's fine, and she'll be good against Twente when we play against them. She'll be good in FA Cup. She shouldn't be starting. That's fine, but why not? I don't know. Fransiska Kett is linked to Real Madrid. Real Madrid are linked to a left back that's better than Niamh Charles, in my opinion. Fransiska Kett was one of the best players on the pitch. For Barcelona versus Bayern in both legs, she was fantastic. She was part of all 3 goals that Bayern scored in the 2 legs. Why is she linked to Real Madrid and not us? How are we not the more attainable, desirable project? After winning a double, we need a traditional left back that is an AG, that's super fast, super aggressive, can do it. Kett is obviously the one we should be going for. There's no question about that. And we're going after Niamh Charles based on legacy, based on history, based on, I don't know, easing her in. And I think that there is something about that I think is just inherently, I don't know, disappointing. And I think that needs to be, that just needs to be understood. That needs to be recognized, that there is one German international and one English international, and we're embedding in the one that I think is just English tax. I think we're going to have to, you would arguably have to pay more for Niamh Charles than Fransiska Kett, which is ridiculous in my opinion, because I think Kett is literally fantastic. I think everyone should be looking for Kett. I mean, no pun intended. But she is fantastic, and she would help Real Madrid. She would solve one of the biggest problems. We are losing Uabi. We need a left back, but they have no left back. They don't have an Uabi to lose. They have no one there, and they're playing 18-year-old, 19-year-olds there, and ultimately, this is it. This is the moment where you're looking at the new age Madrid with Dorado in the 6, in that 4-1-4-1, 18 years old. You have Navarro. You have, if Kett comes in, Kett, and then Fella, Caicedo, Athenea. It is actually starting to look a bit more like a team that can play football against not necessarily Barcelona, but other UWCL sides and give them a go. Like, I don't know, they gave you they gave you guys a game at Meadow Park, and I think ultimately that's that's what I mean. That's how they should be playing, and I think Fransiska Kett makes that even better and makes their defensive recovery better, and their attacking outlets from the left side far superior.
I think that this is an affliction specific to women's football. I don't think that teams, especially in the WSL, look outwards enough to prime or mid-20s players playing in Germany, Spain, France. I don't think that they are confident enough to say, we're going to bring this player in and make them a star. And it's not the traditional 10s and 9s and wingers. I'm thinking of, where are the 6s outside, like in their prime years, outside of England, playing in England? Where are the fullbacks, the centre backs, the goalkeepers? This is very much Real Madrid exploiting the fact that players, want to go to Real Madrid the same way they want to go to Manchester United. There is some affinity to these big institutions, but also they are willing to give money to these players. Unfortunately, you guys just didn't, Chelsea as well, didn't put the money up for Kett. And it makes me think, and the conspiracy of, do these organizations, these teams, look outside of the WSL and outside of the big Champions League clubs? Because Kett is a fantastic player. She spends a lot of her time playing in the Bayern League, and we obviously saw the biggest game for Bayern in the Champions League against Barcelona, and Pedersen was playing. So were they just not watching that game, or have they just not been watching Bayern in the last few seasons that Kett has been playing?
I don't know, and I feel like do we need to be signed as WOSO scouts? I don't really understand. Are they just not watching enough football? I mean, we would do it for our respective teams. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'd cook completely. But another player that would be looking to join the Bunds while Kett leaves the Bunds is Cecilia Floe, linked to VFL from Napoli. VFL, who are losing Alex Popp, who are losing Lineth Berenstein. Berenstein's always flirting with Real Madrid. It's really embarrassing. But losing Endemenn, I mean, I've never thought of a player that should be more at Real Madrid than Lineth Berenstein. But a player that should be at VFL is Cecilia Floe, to be a Danish 9. I mean, I think VFL are going for the Pernilla Harder model, a player that plays with her, a player that complements her quite well, ultimately, not rivaling her in this aspect if she goes to VFL Frauen. But she's a fantastic striker. She's young. She's hungry. She wants to be the best version of herself. She can play with both feet. She makes really good runs to the near post. I think she needs to work on her far post stuff a little bit more. But her build-up play and her ability to hezzy shots and play the ball across the box, even when she gets into those tighter channels to play the ball across the box, she can do a lot of things. And I think she could get VFL into Cecilia Floe state and get them back in the running to be the team that they're supposed to be, and hold up this ship that is slowly, steadily failing at the fact that they don't have the same firepower up front.
I think that Cecilia Floe is such an inspired move. I think that she's a great player, a young player. She's only 24, 11 goals for Napoli, a team that wasn't wholly successful in the Serie A. And I think that this is going to show that VFL are going to move outwards. They're going to look for players to start building on what is a legacy that is departing. And they need to rebuild. We've talked about this before. VFL's biggest, probably the biggest thing that VFL have had for the last 10 years, 15 years, is the fact that they've held and kept onto these legacy ballers, and they've really established themselves in the fabric and the foundations of VFL. It's now time for a new generation to come in, and I think what Bayern has done so well is rotate and change and bring in talent in a way that VFL haven't. And look, I think Zakai is still a generous and profitable option for them as well in that forward line, but losing Endemenn, someone who you've put so much stock in, obviously losing Bernstein, who is one of your biggest goal scorers, and then, you know, the moves earlier in the transfer market, we're talking Brand from last year, Jonsdottir, like, these are big changes and they need to be replaced by big players, and I'm hoping that this is just the start for VFL, because they are a club that were once a prosperous club to go to.
100%. And how many years has Svenja Huth got? How many years has all those, the changing of the guard is going to happen? I mean, a player who I could see go to VFL specifically would be a player like JRK, who is looking to leave Chelsea based on her lack of minutes. I mean, we laugh every time Sonia doesn't play her. I laugh so much, and I'm sad because JRK is a very good footballer who has tons to give. I could see her in the Frauenbunds. I could see her go to VFL. I could see her doing the business and arguably being their player of the season if she goes there. I think she's that good. I think she's that capable. I think we don't need her, but I'd take JRK. I think she's a great player, honestly. But she is kind of, I don't know. I see her in the NWSL. I see her in in Wolfsburg colours. I see her in a lot of teams.
100% we would.
Yeah, exactly. The Swedish magic, the Swedish link up would go crazy. Stina and JRK, you telling me that wouldn't go crazy? That's nuts. But we already mentioned Caroline Weir, who is departing. Misa as well, leaving Real Madrid. They're going to have to find specific replacements. I don't know. Is Frums the shot stopper that's going to hold up the ship?
I think she is. I think that she's done so well. It sucks that she got injured halfway through the season because she was the number one. And I honestly think Lisa should have left ages ago. I think her prime was right after 23. I think she's been exceptional. But I think Real Madrid has let her down, and it's really been a confidence what's the opposite of a confidence boost? It's like a confidence whack over the head, right? Like you play fantastic games where you're making stops against some of the best shot stoppers in the world, and then you play Barcelona and you get beat 6-0. And that will impact 100%. You, especially if you want to go to a club in the WSL, somewhere bigger where you know that, you know, there is always going to be that, you know, Barcelona effect. You're always going to have to play the team. You're always going to have to play teams like them. And Misa is again, one of those foundation players, fabric players, and she's leaving, and it's going to leave a massive hole in that spine. And Weir, as we talked about earlier, massive hole.
We cannot replace her situation. I mean, I would take Caroline Weir back. I mean, you'd take Caroline Weir back. But this is the Caroline Weir thing. Everywhere she goes, it's kind of Sam Kerr like. She just dominates. She's incredible. She's magical. Her statistics, I mean, you know them better than me, but they're magnificent. And ultimately, wherever she goes, she will benefit. And I wonder where she's going to play the remainder of her football.
I would give my left leg and Geraldine Reuteler for Caroline Weir to come to my club.
You don't have Geraldine Reuteler. What, you're going to like sacrifice her? You're going to sacrifice her to the gods or something?
A lamb that hasn't even been born yet.
Reuteler to Real Madrid. I will buy her so we can do a transfer swap for Weir for Reuteler plus Leggy's leg. Leggy's leg signed with leg. But yes, no, I would take her back in. I mean, you can have Clinton. We'll give you Grace Clinton and £600,000 £5. I think that's nice. I think that's generous. But something that isn't generous is Zubieta. How dare Arsenal leave her to go to Atletico Madrid from one athletic club to another? I think that's cruel. I can't believe she was linked to Arsenal. It's because her name's Zubi and she was at Athletic Club. Exactly. I think that's the only reason. Yeah, she's just pointing at Zubamendi and Arteta or Marino. She's actually pointing at Zubamendi and Arteta, and it's actually Marino. It's a bit of an Ineos situation where they're pointing at Maya Letizia and they're like, who's the captain here? But we're gonna do some quick fire magic. Chisa from Inter to Atleti. Also, the one word answer is why. Who knows? Why would you go from Champions League football to no Champions League football? The brain department not working clearly. But Eisenbeis, young and up and coming goalie from Frankfurt, is now going to VFL. This might be one to regret down the line, but we will find out. And I think, good for VFL to get some more cover. I don't know if Smolarczyk is going to have more competition as that second keeper behind Stina Johannes. But then Bagley from Brighton leaves Brighton Hove Albion. Is there a player more worthy of NWSL minutes than Bagley?
So
Probably
you say that, but I think she's like Newcastle bound, somewhere in like WSL 2, like a Jordan Nobbs
interesting
move. Yeah.
Maybe, it could be a Jordan Nobbs. Speaking of retirement, we have no retirements this week. Still waiting on what? Who's the best one? Who have I missed?
Courtney Vine.
Who have I missed?
Leaving. NC
Courtney Vine.
Courage.
Oh my God. Yeah. No. Sorry. I was going to leave that for retirements. Cruel world. Vine time. Does she stay in? Does she stay away from Australia? Does she come back? Does she do another Channel 10 interview to tell us where she's going to go? There is no one better in the world to talk about this than my podcasting partner. Tell me what is happening. Is this the end of NWSL Vine Time?
There will be Vine Time. It's just where will Vine Time be? And I will dedicate my NWSL watch time to wherever she goes. It started because of Vine. I have a very turbulent
6 seconds of magic. Yeah, 6 seconds of magic. That penalty was 6 seconds. That penalty could be a Vine, basically. That's how good it was. That's the point.
I have a very turbulent relationship with Courtney Vine because I think that she is incredibly anachronistic. I don't think that her best place is with the Matildas. I think that she and Joe Montemurro would be settling for someone like Courtney
Nation
Vine.
Change.
Nation change. But I think the problem with the NC Courage move is twofold. It's obviously things going on behind the scenes, but I think that there's been a genuine chemistry mismatch with NC Courage. I think with the introduction of such unique players coming into the Courage, she just didn't fit in for the type of, no offense, two-dimensional player that she is. A backward step would be going to the W League. Do not go to the W League, Courtney Vine. I know Sydney FC is so appealing. The Cove, they're going to chant your name. It's amazing, but do not do it. And I also implore you not to go to a big club because it's just going to lead you in the same cyclical cycle, if I can use the tautology, of I'm going to this big move, this Hayley Raso big move, and then get like 3 games. And it's not going to work for you. You need to go to a club where you can embed your style, even grow as a footballer, and prove yourself worthy of a 27 spot for the Matildas.
I've said it, where all the Australians are going now. Who really wants to live in North Carolina? There's not much fun to do there. Leggy, we don't have to rehash the where you live, where you play football argument, but how beautiful is Como? Am I right? Just play with the chids. Play Alex and Courtney link up would be magical.
They need
Inter. Yeah, get a winger. Imagine Buhaga and Vine on either side. No Valert. She could be the Tessa replacement. Imagine Vine with 28 goals and 11 assists. Oh my God, Vine Time would be going crazy in the Femminile. Femminile Vine. She'd have to change her name to Courtney Vine or Courtney Vineyard. Courtney Vineyard, because of all the wine countries. She should play for Napa Valley Vine. Napa Valley Vine. But that is all we have for Vine Time, and that is all we have for contract. We had no retirements. I'm still waiting on Rusha Littlejohn to retire, in my opinion. Rusha Littlejohn
Never
magic.
Retire.
If she hears this is the problem. She might headlock me and murder me. The next time she talks to me, I hope it's all in jest, Rusha. Put it this way, I'm already retired and I'm
Rusha,
like 15 years younger.
I was always on your side, Rusha. I was always on your side, Queen. I love you.
What, even when she headlocked that player for the red card?
I don't care. Starting from 23 onwards, I don't care. I'm always on Rusha's side. I don't want to be shouted out on a podcast. Are you crazy? No.
Yeah, that's fair. I would want to be shouted out on a podcast like this. Yeah, okay. I mean, we are good reasons. We are spreading. No one else covers the game like us, Leggy. Rusha Littlejohn should understand that. I think that she understands that the greater good, it's important to have a little bit of banter. She understands the banter. She's got that British humour. But that is all we have for contracts, extensions, rumours and retirements as we move on to the Benchwarmers Awards. Never bench again. It's so obvious. Tabitha Chawinga, full stop. What a player. Why were you not starting the final? Geraldes did a full-on Pep Guardiola and screwed it up, but it's okay. She will be back next year, and I think Chawinga will start if she's fully fit.
My never bench again, we talked about it in the NWSL watch. It's Trinity Byers. I mentioned her like 3 weeks ago when she first started that she needs to be there because Ludmilla is not doing the job. Jonas, listen to me. Please take Ludmilla out of the starting lineup, please, for the love of God, and start this girl. She is so good. She's been incredible in the last month, and she would really elevate San Diego's front line.
It's going to happen. You will get your moment of clarity, Leggy. Do not worry. My Super Sub of the Week for the 4th time this season, cooking my Super Subs of the Week every week. It's Nerea Ezagire. How many times does she have to cook off the bench before she's good enough to be in the game? Who knows? I can't believe she signed an extra 3. This is what I was talking about with role players. Oh my God, she's going to leave if we don't start her. No, she signed 3 years because she balls out on the bench and knows that they have Champions League next year, so she's going to absolutely cook in the Champions League, and she's going to have this amazing moment against the top side, and everyone's going to be like, who's this Ezagire? And I'll be like, why are you not listening to the Benchwarmers Awardso podcast? Because we've been talking about her for how bloody long. It doesn't matter how long. She's just been cooking since she was at Sociedad. It's insane how good she is.
My sub of the week goes to Ali Brazier. We didn't talk about this game in the NWSL watch, but Denver's first ever signing got her first goal and the winning goal versus Racing off the bench 3 minutes after she came on. It's just kind of like a sentimental super sub of the week. I kind of like the story.
Yeah. I mean, are we gonna? We've got sentimental come on the pods, in my opinion. I mean, that's all that matters. I mean, I've gone for the World Sevens tournament, specifically not giving changing rooms to teams that aren't top 4 in the NWSL, basically. So because Chelsea and United were given changing rooms in the stadium, but others were housed in the portable building with no aircon, apparently, allegedly. Just hilarious, but also just tragic, embarrassing, elitist, classic competition, not handling event management particularly well. Either you give them all the same or you don't, and don't make it like, oh my God, like in fact, imagine it would have been worse. Imagine if they were like, that United got a changing room and Chelsea got the better one, or Chelsea had a changing room and then they had an extra one just for Sonia. Like, I don't know, like something ridiculous, but like, just tragic.
Sunday League, when like you delineate pre-game training pitches, so like you put the away team on your like back pitch. And then you put the team that's home on the nice main pitch. Very funny.
It's disgraceful. Yeah, even when you're just doing trainings as a whole, and you're putting like whoever gets first president, like the state, like let's say you got like state 1 to like 8, and your state 8 is basically playing in a flood, and then everything from there. It's just that whatever has the least waterlogged is how good the quality of the football is, and that's just disgraceful. But I don't expect that at the top level. I don't know, who's your come on the pod?
My comment on the pod is also W7s related. It's Aggie Beaver Jones.
Of course it is.
Girl, quit your day job. That's all I have to say. 8 goals
she was good.
And 5
she
assists
was very
in the World
good.
Sevens. 6 goals, 2 assists in 24 games, all comps this season. I mean, I get it, they're different, but seriously, like, to put so much effort into a World Sevens tournament versus your actual season in your actual football club of 11 aside is pretty sad. And to see the reaction from Chelsea players, like, this is a season redeemed, is also pretty false. It's falsifying history. Honestly, it's completely it's completely taking away what Abby Beaver-Jones did, which was basically nothing after one of the more standout seasons we've seen from an English striker in recent history.
I mean, what you said 6 goals, 2 assists in 24 games. She was 4-4 at the start of the season. Yeah. So like, it's basically 2 goals, 2 assists in 20 games. Yeah. Like, it's a tragic. Like, it was an amazing start, and then Kerr came back from injury, and they didn't trust Aggie, and Kerr wasn't even fully fit and ready to go. And Kerr was fit and firing by the end. They put LJ in the 9. They put Macario in the 9 when she was there, and then she vamosed, and then they tried everything else, and it just did not work. And it was embarrassing that they trying to like shoehorn a way to get Aggie out of that position. But I mean, we are 2 hours into our podcast, and I mean, it's only right that we talk about this moment that people cared more about than the FA Cup final, sadly, in the World Sevens. I mean, look, I'm gonna get my like exclusionary like tales out of the way, in the sense of that you're entitled to watch what you want. You're allowed to like this. You're allowed to enjoy this. This is like football for fun. This is them playing 7-a-side, having a laugh, taking the piss. But in my opinion, I think, I don't know, I guess I am just a bit of a football conservative, a bit of a Luddite. I don't like the World Sevens tournament. I don't like what it represents post-season. I don't like seeing teams that are, were basically the underwhelming sides of the league, in the sense of Chelsea not achieving what they were supposed to achieve. United basically failing on all fronts, bar an okay campaign. Despite the fact that they invested heavily in this season, they fell flat of where they were supposed to fall. And then to have a team like Leicester, who got relegated so badly in the worst of circumstances, just there having a laugh post that, and playing better in this World Sevens tournament than they did in the WSL, which is more embarrassing. But And LCL, who have a right to be there, fair enough. KANG would love the World Sevens tournament. But to have it not be like under-19s and kids playing, which would have been understandable and respectable, but to have your first 11s play and all the la-di-da stuff, sure, that's fine. But then when players get injured, and like Tuva Hansen does her ACL in this tournament, which means she's gone. Imagine that was Beaver-Jones. Imagine that was, imagine that was Kira Walsh, who broke her leg in the World Sevens tournament. There would be crucifixions in the social media forums saying, why are they playing this tournament? It's just fun and games, and it's fun and games, and it's cool. But also, like, why do we like you have to ask the questions of why it exists. What is it there to do? What is it there to serve? And it's interesting when you're looking at the, like, not just the injury side, but the need for it post season, when they're already tired, they're already run through the season. They're all these players talking about athlete pay, talking about how they play too much, and there needs to be less games in, Arsenal had a run of 7 games in a row for 21 days, and that's one every 3 games. Imagine if they had to play World Sevens after, they'd be absolutely wrecked. Like, you can't have, women need to play less games, and we're going to play World Sevens at the end of the season where there is a potential for you to get injured while playing quite high intensity, fast, like different football, like different energy system football to the one they're playing. And yes, you can have a laugh, but I'm allowed to criticize, and I wouldn't want City involved in the World Sevens post winning the double. We have a lot to cheer about, and we have a lot to be happy about, and we were in an FA Cup final, and if Chelsea were in that FA Cup final, they wouldn't be playing World Sevens. That's the fact of the situation. And I think that is just, I don't know, there's a lot to consider than more than just, it's just a bunch of fun for the players.
I think that two realities can exist at the same time. Women's football can be a place of fun and consumer driven and really cater to fans, whilst also not treating the women's game and the women's players like some sort of cute novelty experience. We go and we have fun, when really that's just infantilizing the sport in these players. Unfortunately, the women's game is kind of in this paradigm where they don't really know where they exist. Are we a serious professional sport, or are we a sport that caters to the capitalistic interests of owners and to ex-pros who want to set up these cute little gimmicks because they didn't have these experiences when they were playing? I think I respect people who watch the games, and I respect how this can be an entry into women's football, but unfortunately, the cost and the mistreatment of a lot of these players, and that includes overplaying, and that includes the World 7 tournaments, obviously trumps the niceties and the cute novelty of this World Sevens. And I think we can have a similar tournament, but as you said, make it an under-19s tournament. Have the players that will bring fans come in as coaches, as these people who can guide these younger players. Have academy players like Adjaman or Lola Brown or or even Blinky when she was a young player. Like, have her as the stars of these World Sevens tournaments, and have the Ali Carpenters, the
Poppy
Alessia
Pritchard,
Russos.
but also make it world.
Yeah.
I want to see, I don't know. I joked about it on What Would KANG Do last week. Under 19s, World Sevens, do it, make it youngsters, but make it from around the world. Go oh my God, did everyone see that skill from that young girl, Claudinha Martinez, in the World Sevens tournament? That's what it should be. It should be the best of the best youngsters, that it ups you. It's not, I don't need to see Kira Walsh and Aggie Beaver-Jones play 7-a-side. I've seen Kira Walsh play. Everyone yaps about Kira Walsh being, even Aitana would tell you that Kira Walsh should be in her 7-a-side team. Of course she's good. Of course they're good at this. But the question is why? I don't need to know that. I know that. I see them play 11-a-side, and Kira Walsh has been one of the greatest 11-a-side footballers. And also, I don't know, the whole fun thing just falls flat on deaf ears, because football is fun. Football is the funnest sport in the world. Football is the sport that unites everyone. There's no what place does women's football have? Women's football has a place in football, the most popular sport, basically the biggest religion in the world, and needs to be respected as such. And we don't need to create gimmicks to get people into the sport. Everyone is already into the sport. That's the point. We're not disenfranchising it. Women are leading at the forefront of the success in the women's game. It isn't just like we need to dumb it down, or we need to Americanize it, or we need to entertain it. The sport is the entertainment. Anyone who watched that Champions League final, unless you're a Lyon fan, can watch the level of football and go, you know what? Look where we've come. Look how far we've come from watching. Watch highlights of the 15-16 or UWCL final. Watch highlights of the 2011 World Cup final, and tell me how far we've come in 15 years from that Japan game to now, when we're about to go into the next World Cup in Brazil, to have them. Probably this will be the most iconic World Cup. This is the last World Cup for so many amazing players. You're telling me the entertainment value, the fun value isn't there for that in the real prestigious tournaments? It does just feel like made for a sake of a thing that is fake. It's a pseudo brought up idea that football over 90 minutes 11-a-side isn't fun enough.
It's capitalistic circus, but more so it's telling the audience of women's football that women's football doesn't exist in a duality the same way that men's football does. Men's football can be entertaining and also incredibly professional and serious.
They would never do this. They would never do this.
No, and women's football has to be either or. So either we are watching a World Cup final and 100,000 people are in a stadium and millions are watching across the world, or we're watching a World Sevens game where we're doing celebrations that are silly yet incredibly fun, and we can admit that. But it does take away from, as I said, the growth of the game and what we want to be the lasting legacy of not just for women's football as a whole, but this generation of women's football. This generation has introduced a capitalistic angle that has, in my opinion, deteriorated some of the biggest and some of the best foundations that we've had from earlier versions of women's football. Yes, an injection of money is necessary for the game to grow. Men's football didn't exist without the injection as well, but it's the type of money and it's the type of entertainment that continues to infantilize the sport and continues to create a paradigm and a real circus around what it is.
And also, anyone who wants to make those monetary arguments, I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and say that a sports admin or business degree makes you any more relative knowledgeable in the aspects, but you can talk to numerous sport journalists, sport administrators that will tell you that the number one and number two ways and means in which players make money is broadcasting and sponsorship. Yeah, if the women's game wants more money, it's collective bargaining with broadcasting, it's collective bargaining with sponsorships, and ultimately some of these teams are sponsored by some of the biggest companies in the world. Yeah, they have the ability, and it is the smaller teams that need that injection of money, not shelf Chelsea, not Manchester United that are linked to Ineos and 3 and Clear Lake and all that stuff. It's Leicester, sure. Leicester's linked to the Srivardhana Prabha family that are billions dollars worth. If you want World Sevens tournament to be about making monetary value and giving monetary value, it needs to be unknowns. It needs to be around the world. Like, players like Talia Yunus should be playing in a World Sevens tournament, in my opinion. That's what I would want to see. I want to see youngsters Courtney Vine's a bit different, but I mean, like, 17-year-old, 18-year-olds who are youngsters, so that the social media people aren't going, wow, look at Sonia Bompasta's funny jokes, and Aggie Beaver Jones, look how good they are over 7-a-side, look how good these guys are playing. She's a baller. It's rising ballers going, wow, is everyone watching this young tournament where this is the future of the game? And then it has a reason, and then there's a reason, and then there's an emotional connector to it. Yes, it's not 11-a-side, but there's a reason for it to exist that caters to, like, that caters to the development of the 11-a-side game, which is ultimately the goal of what they're doing, because then you get eyes on the World Sevens and everyone goes, oh, this is really cool. And then we go to 11-a-side and then you have young, impressionable fans that go, oh, well, this isn't as good as World Sevens, when the reality is that it should be the springboard, right? So I think that's how I look at it ultimately. But yes, our come on the pods collectively are basically just our disdain for this tournament that lacks a lot of direction, and ultimately. Not necessarily... Yeah, and heart. I mean, don't get me wrong. Hannah Blundell doing her funny stuff is great. And the hair pull with the Katie McCabe stuff and Alyssa Thompson, I mean, that's all fun and games. And like, there are some good moments, don't get me wrong. But the intentionality, the event management, the idea, the mission statement of the World Sevens is wrong, and the vision statement is definitely wrong. And hopefully they get that on track. Wow, who knew that I would use my degree in this Benchwarmers Awards. You always find yourself in different positions in this particular segment. But that is all we have for the Benchwarmers Awards as we go into the final segment of the show, the What Would KANG Do? 39. We are one away from a song next week, but we have ended the season for Leon. We've ended the season for LCL. It's time. We're getting a little sneak peek for next week. Next week's going to be a lot of 11s and team of the seasons and stuff, but we're going to do KANG's team of the season this week. I mean, it is just LCL. I mean, unless you really think there's a spirit player that should be in there after 12 rounds, we're going to do an LCL and Leon not combined 11, but just the best players from each of them, who deserves a nod, who deserves a shout out. I think that's going to be really exciting to look at. And then ultimately we might end with a little bit of a bonus clip, but we'll see how we go. But I think in goal, it has to be Lete. I think Lete is definitely the one. Endler has been decent this year, but has been injured for a bit. And Micah was good in those moments where she was in the team, but Lete's getting links to everyone now after her stellar season at LCL. Right back. Sorry, Ash Lawrence. It's Jana Fernandez. It has to be Jana Fernandez. As much as I love Sophie Svava and as much as I rate Corrales, for me, it is probably Salma Basha. I think Salma Basha just has to be the one. Centre halves, who are we thinking? Is there any centre half from LCL? No, it just can't be. It just can't be. It has to be.
You know how much I ride
Engen.
for Alana Kennedy, Ben?
Yeah. Kennedy. It's obviously Kennedy and Linari. I mean, everyone saw them in the first few match days. They were amazing. Though, I don't know if you saw this, but this is just going to be a bonus for the podcast listeners because this won't make the edit. But I don't know if you saw Linari's 7-a-side team. She got asked to make like a World Sevens all-time alongside Freya Godfrey. And Freya Godfrey went full-on neurodivergent mode, and she was like The Rock in defense and like all this ridiculous stuff. But Linari's team was so weird and so good. It's so entertaining. We might have to look it up after this. But it has to be Engen and Renard. Engen and Renard right next to that, next to Basha. I think Jana. I think Lete is a great back four and a keeper. Midfield, I don't know if any LCL players make it personally. Maybe you could give it to a player like Aslani, but Aslani did go down relatively early on. So I think it has to be Johannes, Lindsay Heaps, and I really don't want to put Schrader. Can we put someone else in the 10? Can we move someone further down? Is that the plan? I'm trying to think. We could go De Mornay. Let's go De Mornay in the 10. So then we can get, instead of putting De Mornay on the right, we could put Freya Godfrey, who deserves it, rightfully for her season. Unbelievable, stellar season for LCL. I sadly do see a United future for her. I don't know why. It's just, she would look good in a United shirt, sadly. Like, she just would, which is hilarious.
Arsenal red.
Yeah, there you. Maybe. Yeah, what you're gonna the resurgence, the renaissance, the Freya-sance. Yeah, the Freya buyback clause. That would be unreal. I can't wait for her to be benched for the entire season. Thanks for that. Left side, it would. It's either Tabitha or Besho.
Tabitha. It has to be Tabitha. I'm sorry.
I think it's Tabitha, and then up front is, I mean, Ada's had her worst season ever. Do we have to put Ada? I don't know what we do. I mean, maybe we could put Chewinga through the top, and then you could put Besho on the left, or you could put Eula Brun. Sorry, we've got Eula Brun. Let's go Tabitha in the 9, Godfrey on the right, and Eula Brun on the left, and that wraps up a fantastic 11. I mean, in managerial standpoint, is it Prasure? Maybe.
No,
is it Jocelyn the GOAT? Nah, it's probably Geraldez. But I mean, if Spirit get back into their form, I mean, we could be talking about a very different KANG team of the season at the end of the NWSL team of the season, where I don't know who could get in. I don't think Rodman's playing well enough. I don't know if Spirit are going to be playing well enough to break into the mold of this team.
That's pretty obvious.
I mean, yeah, so I mean, that's the question, right? So the goal now would be, if you are a KANG-pilled servant, right, if you are a minion of KANG, which you are if you play for her, is there any player worthy of a Spirit shuffle right now? Who should be playing for Spirit? Who could help them out to go? Maybe Ash Lawrence returning to North America just to help out in that right side. I mean, there just needs to be a way for Spirit to cater off the fact that they are the only KANG project currently active right now. So I'm wondering what the goal is.
I think Washington definitely need a better midfield. I think midfield wise they are very lackluster. I think they miss such a get with Lindsay Horan, or Lindsay Heath, I should say. I definitely understand why she went back to Denver, but they definitely missed something there. But this is kind of crazy. I think Egarola to Washington Spirit, I think could have been and could be a move. I think that, she fits,
is a great
she fits
shout.
the archetype. Yeah. She's a bull in midfield.
She's so good.
And she could drive those balls down the flank to Trinity Rodman, Kentore, whoever. I think that would be my move.
Yeah, I think that's a great shout. Maybe Egarola can do the business and then just shuffle back to Leon eventually when we talk about the Spirit shuffles that will come back eventually to Europe, because that's where KANG's main projects are. And then the geriatrics that end up in Retirement Village in Bromley. But that is all we have for What Would KANG Do, and that is all we have for the podcast this week. We are on Spotify and YouTube for your full audio visual spectacular full audio podcast, where you get the funniest jokes and all the basically raw uncut footage of Leggy and I taking the piss out of everything and everyone. So if you really want to cancel us, watch us like forever. You'll see it. But if you want to see what most people see out of us, it's from our Instagram. You'll get all our announcements there, alongside our TikTok, which is where we get most of our traction. We are loving all the love on TikTok, all the comments, all the love, all the hate comments as well. We love them too. We read, indulge, consume. Don't think that just because we don't respond sometimes that we're not listening and we're not watching. We get everything out of them. Shout out to anyone who comments on anything, and the support has been great, especially across the Champions League final, and the preview has been really good on YouTube too, with shorts and longer form content too. We appreciate this because we love WOSO. We love watching it, and because it matters all around the world. Football's the greatest sport, and WOSO is my favorite version of it because it is just so beautiful. It's so great. I mean, maybe it's not World Sevens, but we cover the top 10 leagues in the world. We cover international fixtures as well, which will be next week's games, because next week's podcast will be the episode 40. We will talk about the qualifiers that are currently happening right now. Everyone talking about La Roja specifically, but it will be exciting to do it because we've just finished off basically all of the league content. It's been amazing to cover the top 7 leagues in the world this entire season. We're still going with America because that's what we do. We don't just cover every second of it, every minute of it, every hour of it, or every day of WOSO. We cover every week. Every week? Every week. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for warming the benches and have a great week.